Hey guys, it's been a minute here at Rootedsky Homestead, but now we're getting into the slower months of winter, and I'm at the Crow Hollow Homestead, and we are getting ready to make lip balms for Christmas gifts. So here we're going to do a double boiler. So you have one pot filled a quarter of the way with water, and this other pot fits nicely in there, and we're going to get this warming so that we can begin melting our oils.
So it has a really strong cocoa scent, which is lovely. And cocoa butter is really, it's kind of dry and brittle. So I find it a little more difficult to cut because it kind of falls apart.
Now, when you use the word butter, is this the same thing as like the butter that we put on our bread?
Well, technically, I mean, a butter is, like we call it a butter because it's solid at room temperature. So it's got a high, this is getting into all the chemistry of the fats, and that's not my strong suit. But basically, it's a solid at room temperature.
Okay.
Versus, like this is hemp seed oil, which is liquid.
Yeah, because it's not as fatty.
Well, it's not that it's not as fatty. It's, and this is where I'm like, I don't know enough about the chemistry to get really sciencey, but it is how the fatty chains are connected.
Oh, okay.
So that's why, everybody laughs here, it's like, it's hot enough outside, it's officially summer when coconut oil is liquid, whereas when it's cooler, it's at room temperature. But
it's more solid.
And it's more solid, but it doesn't go rancid.
Right.
So.
Okay, so we're measuring out here 40 grams we need.
40 grams,
yeah.
Yes. And I think, we're about there, because it's like, okay.
Yeah, so we're at 40 grams of cocoa butter.
Yep.
Now, is this a type of shea?
No, so shea butter is different. So this actually comes from the cocoa plant, so it smells like chocolate.
Yeah, that's why it smells like chocolate.
Right. Yes,
oh, you guys, if you could smell this, you would be drooling right now if you're a chocolate fan.
It's hard to actually buy. We use it, so we're using it in the lip balm, so it's going to be on our lips. Like, you can taste that. I mean, that's the butter from the cocoa plant.
And we could use this if we were making chocolates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, cool. So now
This is how we make white chocolate.
Now we're going to go over here and get this
so this
started.
Is the really boring part.
Yeah, this is just going to slowly begin to melt down. That's why it's in a double boiler, low heat, but constant, so that it'll melt the fat. And now we're going to be measuring out, is this the beeswax or the shea?
This is the oil. So we're just going to do straight cocoa butter for this one.
Okay, so 40 grams of cocoa butter, 20 grams of beeswax, and is that 40 grams of oil?
40 grams of oil, so I'm going to use hemp seed oil. So when you're using a scale and you're measuring things out, you want to make sure, so I'm using a container on the scale, so you want to tar the scale first to make sure that it recognizes this is 0, even though there's something sitting on top of it. And we're going to take this little, otherwise we'll be here for 6 hours.
Longest video
I
ever.
know. Sit here and watch the oil pour out. I love these little things, but they also drive me nuts.
I actually use an old-timey wine bottle decorker, and it fits right in there and pops it out, no problem.
All right, so what do we want? Okay, 40. So the general rule of thumb when you're making, any kind of body butter, or like salve, or in this case a lip balm, something where you're taking liquid fats and solid fats and mixing them together, you want to make sure that you have an even ratio. So 40 grams and 40 grams will give us 80 grams, but it will be a nice soft consistency that's not going to be too hard or too soft. Whereas if you go, and you might, if you want it softer, then you might lean heavier on the solid oil, or if you want it greasier, then you're going to lean heavier on the liquid oil.
Oh, okay, that's good to know. Okay, guys, we went a little over here. This is all in the moment, live happenings.
Whoops, it's okay.
Just gonna scoop it back in the bottle.
Yep, make a mess, because, you know.
Kitchens are made for that.
Yep.
Perfect, we're right on the nose.
Yep. All right.
Get that going in there. Look at the gorgeous color. Wow. This is a hemp oil?
Yep.
Yeah, that is gorgeous.
Okay. And then we'll let this melt down, which is going to take a while before we add the beeswax. So just
Okay, so here we are with 20 grams of beeswax. That'll go in later.
22. Close enough.
The floor is moving. It's
Exactly.
It's the counter. It's not the wax. Yeah. So my friend was just telling me that one of the things you can do with beeswax, you can get a dedicated grater.
A cheese grater.
Yeah, like a cheese grater that you would use for like Parmigiano Reggiano, and use that for your wax when you're getting ready to make a project. Because once you grate it up, it's kind of the same thing with tallows or lard. You know, when you grate it, the fat before you're gonna cook it down, it helps it to cook better and more pure. You know, the smaller you can get it.
Blends easier.
Yeah.
Like, this chunk is going to take a little while to dissolve, but it's also, admittedly, grating. It's kind of a pain in the ass. And you can buy it already broken up, but I get my beeswax from like local beekeepers that will either melt it and pour it off into molds.
So it comes in nice hunks.
So I have like this, like you can see it says beeswax.
None of yours.
Yes. But then I also have like big blocks like this.
Yeah, that's nice.
Which is nice for grating, but it doesn't.
Wow, it's so smooth. There's no stickiness to it at all.
No.
Wow, very cool. Now, can you make a gum out of this?
Out of beeswax?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe. I've never tried to make gum.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, stay tuned. All right, here we are. We are cooking all the fat down into the oil, and we're almost there. And then we're going to be adding in the beeswax. And she goes. Boop. This is the beeswax. You can see a little bit of steam coming off the side here. It's not too hot, just warm enough. And as that's slowly melting down, beginning to get this kit set up, the little tubes. It's kind of fun. All right, so we've got 13 in the hole, and then 2 down here just to keep this nice and stable. And the lids are removed, and we're just waiting for the oils, and we'll be adding in some flavorings too. Not flavorings, but scents.
Yes, essential oils.
Yeah, essential oils. Voila! All of the fats have been melted. And now we're going to begin adding in the scents.
So you want to take it off the heat?
Mm-hmm.
And what's really important when you're doing this, so this is a makeshift, hold on one second, makeshift double boiler. It's just a stainless steel bowl I got at the thrift store, and then a saucepan. It's really important that you get all of the water off. So whether you're using a double boiler to make a lip balm or a salve or melt chocolate, you want to make sure that you don't get any water in here. Like, that's super important. So as soon as you lift it out, make sure you get all the steam and everything off. Because with your chocolate, the water will cause it to seize, and then it ruins your chocolate, and that's a really sad day.
Yeah. Well, water and oil don't mix.
They don't.
We know this, right,
They
friends?
don't. Important because we're basically just working with fats, and whether they're in a solid form or a liquid form, or with at the addition of the essential oils, it's the volatile oils, but there's no water in here because as soon as you add water, then you're going to increase the potential for going rancid or bacteria. And because this is something we're going to be putting on our lips,
Yeah,
we don't want any
definitely don't want
rancidity.
bacteria. Yeah.
All right, so we're going to let that sit for a second. And then,
Okay, so this one is going to be peppermint chocolate.
which we no need for the addition of chocolate because the cocoa butter has a really beautiful scent.
About how many drops was that?
I have no idea.
Was anyone else counting? I think maybe 20.
Yeah, you don't need a lot. Yep, and it'll, once it, honestly, that's part of the challenge with essential oils, is it either comes on real strong and then kind of backs off, or I have found where you're like, gosh, I've added 130 drops and I can barely smell it. But then once you like get the body butter warmed up, you're like, oh, there it is. So, yep, there it is. All right,
All right, here we go.
Yep, Satan help us. All right, so here's the little drag.
Okay, so we've got the draggy tool. That's going to really make sure it all fills in.
Yep, and a crappy old towel. And so really the whole point of this is kind of just, yep, that's okay. We'll pour it up, and then we can use the draggy tool to help even everybody out. We've got Freya the dog cheering us on in the background. Yeah, see, it's already starting to solidify. Yep, so let's get this.
Okay, hold on. This is like a
That's
Pinterest fail right now.
No. No, because look at all those beautifully filled things.
They all did get filled.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. This is just going to smooth the top. Here, can I?
Yep.
All right, guys. You know what? I don't know how people do this where they film and actually do stuff, but...
Yeah, so we're just going to go... like that.
That's very satisfying. And now we get to test it too.
Yep, so let's...
Since it's solidifying, we can rub a little bit. Smear it on the lips.
Yep, and we'll let those kind of
Harden
sit
up.
there for a little bit. And then,
All right.
yeah,
Here we go. Here's the test. There you go. We're smearing. Ooh. It's kind of like a peppermint mocha. Oh,
Yeah.
It feels really good. It's super smooth. It's there's no like grit at all. Everything melted down really well. You want to be on camera? Okay. All right. Well, what do you think? Kissable?
Yeah, and it's not super intense. Mint is pleasant. It's not like knock your face off.
No. It's a nice afternoon refresh.
Yeah.
Lovely. Well, thank you very much. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of how to make some homemade lip balm.